me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. You could take a look in a book, that's fine. Or you could sit back, relax, and unwind and read me romance. Read me romance.
Welcome back, lady listeners.
Hey, lady listeners. Welcome back. It is a new week at Read Me Romance. And we have The Vixen's Vice by Mindy Paige. And I'm so excited to have her with us because she's Rochelle's We love Rochelle Page, friend of the podcast, longtime friend, actual friend. But she brought us Mindy, and Mindy was just the cutest, sweetest, most adorable person ever when I talked to her. I was like, of course she is. Rochelle's wonderful.
Her picture's even sweet. Because I did up the romance page, and I was like, she's adorable.
Yep, she's so cute. I love it. So we're super happy to have Mindy Paige with us, The Vixen's Vice. We're going to talk about her and all of that good stuff in just a few minutes. But first, we're going to catch up because we haven't been with you guys in a bit. I know we talked about it last time, but we recorded a little bit early because Mel was going to New Orleans to see Taylor Swift. Woohoo! I had a boob job and my breast reduction.
What's going on?
I know. Lots been happening. I'm good. Came through great. If you're thinking about doing it, I'm happy to answer questions. So, but we don't have to fill up a whole episode on my tits. Even though
we both have had them now, huh?
Right? Yeah, we both been through it. We can answer lots of questions on that. Maybe we'll just do a whole episode on tits.
Yeah.
But now I want to know I have purposely not asked you until now.
It was incredible.
Was it really? Was it amazing
really
to be around in that stadium?
I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm not a huge New Orleans fan. The city doesn't do it, but I'm a homebody kind of person. You know, I don't even care for New York very much. But it was a lot of fun. Everybody there was just even just going down to the lobby. It's almost like a book signing.
Yeah,
everybody's talking. Everybody's hanging out. It was just incredible. It was like everybody was friends.
Well, everybody's there for the same reason, and everybody has that in common.
I forgot some of my stuff. I didn't even tell you. So I wake up because I have to get a connector down to New Orleans because everything was sold out by the time I booked my ticket like a dummy.
Okay.
I wake up and my flight is delayed.
Oh, your first
flight?
I
would miss my connecting flight.
Oh, shit.
And then I checked the next day and there were no flights. And my dad and my Rob was like, the worst thing that happens is you're landing in Dallas, you rent a car. It's like a 5-hour drive. But I was like, I'm not driving this. So I kept finding other flights, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing, but I just need to get to the airport.
Yeah. Just
and
go to the
I
airport.
hadn't even packed yet.
Oh my God.
I went to bed early.
Oh God.
And I was just getting up early. I was going to pack, and I just started throwing everything in my suitcase. I'm like, put it in there, Rob. And then I got it figured out on the way there. By the time I got to the ticket agent, I was on the phone with him, and she literally got it clicked over, and he's like, let me make sure. Because the flight after mine was delayed too.
Oh my God.
There was a flight before mine. It was delayed too. But if I could catch the earlier flight, which was now delayed as well, I could make the second flight. Okay. And I snagged the last ticket.
Oh my God.
And they switched me over.
Holy shit.
And it was still a tight run when I got to the other one. Because like I said, all the flights, because the planes were coming from, I don't know where they were coming from, but the same spot, they were delayed.
Oh God.
Both of them.
What a nightmare trying to figure that out.
I was so scared. I was like, I'm not missing this. But yeah, when we got down there, it was immediately like the whole city had embraced it. It was everywhere.
That's so awesome.
It was in the airports. It was in the lobbies. There was always things going on. But if anybody was a part of, if anybody follows the Taylor Swift drama or TikTok and all that, there was like a whole scandal.
What was the scandal?
Oh my God, it's like a long story. So there was one girl who was so excited when they opened up new tickets for Taylor. She was excited. She got her tickets and she called the Holiday Inn Express, and it was so booked out and it was so far in advance when we got our tickets. I got my tickets almost a year out that the hotels weren't booking yet. And so she talked to the Holiday Inn Express and they let her get a wing, and she booked out like a whole floor.
And
then she started like, and including people in on it. She's like, oh, anybody want it? And then it started, this group started growing and growing, and then they were booking more floors and planning events for the whole 3 days and these brunches and this stuff. And I think and it just got too much.
Yeah.
And this woman could not handle it. And then she became like mean in the comments.
Oh God.
Like if you because her event stuff was like sold out, and people would bring up other events, and she would kick you out of the group.
Oh God.
But then one person like messaged her because people signed her up to get the Taylor hat. You know, she gives a hat each concert. She comes down to the end and she puts a hat on somebody.
Oh, okay.
And it's usually like a Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah.
Like that. And she was trying to get it, and people had messaged her. They're like, "Oh, my kid's trying to get it too. She's on da da da." And she's like, "Well, I think it's rude for you to message me. This is about me. If you went," I was like, people started.
Oh my God!
It got like nasty.
It just got way out of hand.
It got crazy. And I just thought it was. And then somebody said, I don't know if it was real. I was just laughing so hard that they were giving away a signed Taylor guitar, and then it ended up only being a signed poster or something.
Oh no!
I was like, at this point, this is just hilarious.
It's just like a train wreck. You can't stop watching.
I can't stop watching it, but it was
the show itself. Yeah. How was it? Like, did she play all the songs you wanted to hear and stuff? Like,
yes.
Was there a special guest?
Like, I was worried that I was like 3 hours on my feet dancing, and it went by like boom. I swear, and 3 hours was up. And the next day, for the next 2 days, my whole body hurt. And it wasn't even my legs. It was like my shoulders and my back, like my upper back.
Just sort of standing.
And Rob's like, it's probably remember your hands in the air.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, but yeah, it was a good time. I mean, everybody around you is having a good time. The lines weren't crazy. Like, I thought it was going to be nuts in there or even getting in.
Yeah. Did she have a special guest? She usually brings out somebody.
No, she didn't have one this time.
Oh, okay. No. Her presence was enough.
It was a great time. It was fun seeing people who, like, there was a dad that was kind of by us, and we were talking to him, and he's like, this is insane.
Oh, that's awesome, though. What a good dad. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I know you were really looking forward to it.
It was worth it. It was definitely worth it. I have no regrets.
Yeah. Would you go to another one if there was another show you could get into?
Probably, maybe. You know, I'm not huge on concerts, and I wanted this one because she was going to play all the songs. I don't know if that's going to happen again. Yeah, like it's going to be more album focused from now on. I'm guessing, but who knows with her?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Well, I'm glad you were excited to do it. You know, they had. I was trying to. We're going to stay positive. We're going to talk about positive things this time. And so, you know, I was thinking about putting up my Christmas tree because it's that time already. And then you had mentioned you wanted to do a Taylor Swift Christmas tree.
I did a little one. It's still up. I was thinking about doing the big one with the big bracelets.
You should. I have seen like Taylor Swift fans do like some really cool ones with like the bracelets and stuff that they make to put on the trees. I thought that was nice.
I just need to Google what supplies and go down to like Michael's or whatever and get the stuff. Because I have a tree that'll do it. I think it'll look good on. I have a white tree and I can change the lights to white or colored or whatever.
I think that would be really pretty.
And our Christmas decorations in our house aren't even like outside. We have pink lights. They're already out. Oh, I need to turn them on. I forgot.
Oh yeah, you can switch them over from Halloween now.
Well, no, mine aren't. I don't do Halloween. But but the place is so booked up.
Yeah,
they put them on like 3 days before Halloween.
That's
how early they got. We just haven't plugged them in.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But they've been up because they're so booked. But our Christmas decorations are colorful. They're not like green and red.
Yeah.
It's like rainbows everywhere.
I like that.
So I think that the bracelets would look good on the tree. It would work.
It would. I think it would look really cute.
I think I'm going to do it.
We have like every tree in our house has like a different theme. And I was thinking this year, I was like, I need to shake them up. I need to like do something different. You know, we always do kind of the same ones. And I was thinking that too when you said about Taylor Swift. I was like, I should come up with a new tree idea. Ooh. And I really like that. You know, we went to Universal one time at Christmas, and they did that where they had they had like a scavenger hunt with the different Christmas trees. They were in different parts of the parks, and you had a map, and you could go find all the Christmas trees. And every time you did, you got a stamp, and at the end of it, if you got all the trees, you got an ornament. Oh. And that was really cool. And I actually saw a ton of really cool trees. And one of the trees we saw on that, I actually do in my house now. It was like based on that. It was like a sunken treasure sort of thing where there's like a skeleton, like a one-eyed Willie, and there's like gold and like coral and seaweed and stuff. And it's really cool. And it's like one of the trees I do because of that, because of the one I saw at Universal.
You always have fun trees. Yeah, the bathroom one.
I know. I always have the toiletry. Yeah, that one's like one of my favorites. But I sent you that one yesterday that somebody had posted where it was like the Grinch Christmas tree, and it's bright green and it's really fluffy. Yeah, and it bends over at the top. It goes like straight up, and then it's like wonky on it. And I was like, oh my! I said, this is the only thing that's gonna make me happy right now. I'm gonna need it.
I was looking forward to Christmas copies are back.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I got 2 today already. I got an iced one when I left the dentist, and I was like, I'm going to get a warm one I can heat up later. So I got my sugar cookie fix.
Hell yeah. I need to go check that out. Because I was thinking that yesterday. I was like, I haven't gotten them. I don't know if they're there yet. So thank you for confirming that for me.
Yeah, they came out today. So, November 7th. I looked up the date. I was like, when are these coming out?
Of course you did. I actually went to, they have an open house there's a local business downtown that does like Christmas shirts and stuff and Christmas apparel. They do an open house like the first week in November every year. And I went by there tonight, and I'll show you what I got. Oh. Hold on. I got this shirt.
That's adorable.
I don't know if you can see the colors. It's pink, and it has a pink sticker, and it says Holly Jolly. It's cute. And then I got this one, which it says 'Tis the Season, but it has like that old-fashioned Santa.
Yeah.
I
with
love
the
that
rosy
one.
cheeks. Yeah, that's cute.
It says 'Tis the Season.
If you're on YouTube, you guys can see this.
Yes, and then I just got this red one that says Mary.
Aww. I need to go get my Halloween or my Christmas decorations out because I put all my sweaters in the decoration boxes, so I kind of forget about them. And then I pull them out, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I had this. And then I get excited.
I got a shirt last year that said somebody's jolly ass mama. And that ended up being my favorite shirt. I think I wore it like every day.
My favorite one, and Isabel stole it, was Santa's favorite hoe.
Oh, you know what though? Hand to God, one of my favorite ones is the one you got me with the mom. One? The Kevin one. It's the mom from Home Alone, and she's screaming on the front, and it says Kevin. And my husband loves when I wear that shirt. Let me tell you, every time I put it on, he's like, "Really, really?" And I'm like, "This is why I wear it because you make that face every time." It's still funny 8 years later.
Oh God.
No, it's a good one. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going to do this weekend is maybe put up some trees. So
I thought about doing it the other day, but I just went around doing other things.
Yes.
And plus, I need somebody to bring it up, so I'm not hauling it up here.
I know. That was the other thing, too. I'm like, I can't lift anything right now. I'm going to have to get somebody to help me do it.
You had a real excuse. I'll go down, run 3 miles, and I'm like, I need you to refill my water.
No, I have an actual excuse. I'm not just lazy. Before I forget, I wanted to mention we have a new book out, Alex Riley does. Make sure you go check that out. It is called
The Virgin and Her Bodyguard?
Yep, that's it. The Virgin and Her Bodyguard. That's the one. So we have a new book that's out. Make sure you check that out. And we have a Christmas book that's coming soon too. And yes, make sure you check out. We're going to have a couple more books before the end of the year on the podcast. One of them is an Alexa Riley book as well. But also make sure you check out Read Me Romance for Black Friday. We're going to have some of the book boxes. We saved some to put like deeply discounted. So if you have not gotten your summer book box, if you didn't get one, you can get one on Black Friday. So make sure you do that. And let's talk about Mindy Paige now. I just wanted to mention all that stuff before I forgot. So Mindy Paige was born and raised in the jungles of Florida. That's what she says. It's so cute.
The jungle. It is a jungle down there.
I know, the jungles of Florida.
Jungle.
She decided to pursue her lifelong dream of being an author after a grueling bachelor's degree in botany. From contemporary to dark romance, she loves writing spicy, fast-paced stories and has a goal to write the most unhinged male characters you can't help but love. If not writing or reading, Mindy can usually be found playing with her dogs, tending to her plants, watching trashy reality TV with her boyfriend, or fighting off alligators. What? Yeah. I love her so much. The book she's brought us today is called The Vixen's Vice. There's something invigorating about being chased by a masked stranger. I think it's Carlotta Love has resigned to an unfulfilled relationship with her fiancé, Landon, never questioning if life could be better or if she deserved true happiness. But then he showed up. A dangerous man in a red mask that seemed to follow her everywhere, on the sidewalk, outside her house, bobbing through crowds, even peeking out from the trees that line the trail on her morning run. Carlotta didn't ask for this dangerous obsession, yet she played along, not realizing every day she was dancing closer and closer to the beast's jaws. Now Zay Athos is claiming she's his, and he's coming to collect. 3 days. That's all Carlotta will have to decide which is better, the monster she knows or the one she does not. The Vixen's Vice ties into the Dark Triad series. The main female character of Vixen's Vice is a side character in The Devil's Vice, which is book 1 in that series in the Dark Triad. So if you like what you listened to today, make sure you go check that series out.
She's going to be a writing machine.
I know, right?
Because she's so new, and some of these books are long.
Yeah, I think she's just great. Like, I think she's just got it. She's got the knack. I love it. Upcoming, she has the third and last book in the Dark Triad series. It's releasing on December 5th. And we'll include this all down in the show notes, too, with links and everything to it. Mindy has a paranormal series coming up that's a spicy watch use with demons, darkness, and all things that go bump in the night. She's mostly on Instagram, but you can find her on TikTok, Threads, Lemon8, and Facebook under Mindy Paige, Paige, author. So, like I said, everything will be down in the show notes. Make sure you check all that out and follow her. She's awesome.
Send them in.
Let's do it.
We'll see you guys on the other side.
Bye.
This is The Vixen's Vice by Mindy Paige. Read for you by Mackenzie Cartwright. Chapter 1. There's something invigorating about being chased by a masked stranger. The thought comes to me as violently as the chill night air whipping against my face, but I have no time to linger on it. If I pause for even a moment, he will catch me. And oh, how he's been longing to do that. My thighs burn as I sprint through the back alleys of Moreton, the force of the wind tousling my red hair around my face and obscuring my vision. But I dare not reach up to push it away. All of my focus needs to be on putting one foot in front of the other, in getting away from the crazed man in the blood-red mask. I wish I could say this is the first time I've found myself in this predicament. For the past month, he has been everywhere, crouched behind the pillar in the parking garage, peeking out from the bushes along the trail I take for my morning run, even lingering on the sidewalk outside my townhouse. And he only ever wants one thing: to capture me. My heeled boots skid along the slick pavement as I take a sharp left, and my heart freezes at the sight in front of me. Dead end. Fuck. The lumbering footsteps draw nearer, but I can't find it in me to turn and face him. After all this time, he finally cornered me. What will he do? To my surprise, the thought sends a delighted shiver down my spine. I squeeze my thighs together, placing my hand on the wall for balance as an intense warmth spreads from my core. I shouldn't have these dark desires on the forefront of my mind. I shouldn't have them anywhere, and yet, when he's in my vicinity, I can't seem to help it. A rumbling laugh sounds out just over my shoulder, and I snap up, just now realizing the footsteps have ceased. What's a pretty little Rose doing out here all alone? The timbre of his voice sends another wave of tingles all the way to the tips of my fingers. I bring my thumb to my mouth, dragging it lightly between my teeth as the pins and needles intensify. I so desperately want to turn around to face him, but my body won't let me. I'm rooted in place, a slave to whatever depraved ideas are running through his mind. A gloved hand rests lightly on my neck, the coolness of the leather causing goosebumps to raise along the sensitive area. To my horror, I lean into his touch, going so far as to close my eyes as a wave of euphoria crests in my veins. "You crave it, don't you, little Rose?" he whispers, pressing the side of his mask against my cheek. I jump at the contact, and another low chuckle fills the air. I don't... "You crave my touch," he interrupts, moving the hand slowly from my neck and laying it across my heart. My breath hitches as his fingertips dance along my skin, moving dangerously close to where my nipple pokes through my top. I don't... "You do," he growls, his hand snapping to the front of my neck and squeezing. "You want it more than anything. Need it, like the cock-hungry little slut you are." I gasp, reeling away from his touch as his words hit me. Excuse me? To think that for a moment I was caught under his spell. To think I let him touch me, that I enjoyed it. My thoughts are cut off as I'm wheeled around and pushed face first into the wall, the bottom of my dress hiked over my hips and baring my sex to the world. I open my mouth to scream as a hard body presses forward, molding itself to my backside. My face flushes as the bulge of his cock nestles between my ass cheeks, and I'm genuinely shocked to feel something small and hard pressing at the entrance of my asshole through the material of his jeans. What the fuck is that? I don't get a chance to ask as his hand wraps around my throat again, the other busy pinning my wrists above my head, immobilizing me. My breathing comes hard and fast, but I can't find it in me to fight back. Something in me does want this, desires this more than anything I've ever had. The man seems to realize this, and a menacing laugh fills the air. "I was right, wasn't I, little Rose?" A helpless whimper pours from my lips as his hips rock, pressing that hard thing teasingly against my asshole. Against my will, I push back into it, wanting to feel whatever it is deep inside me. "What a filthy little thing," he muses, tightening his grip on my throat. "So desperate, so wanting, so depraved. You are, aren't you, little Rose?" Mindlessly, I nod my head, my eyes rolling back as pleasurable shivers overtake my being. I don't know why this man does this to me, why no one in my life has drawn these feelings from me. All I know is that I have to have him, or I may very well die. He releases my throat with a chuckle, trailing it slowly down the curve of my body and resting it just above the apex of my thighs. His hand is warm through the glove, and I almost wish he would take it off and touch me with his bare skin. He presses his masked face against my neck, taking a deep inhale of my scent as his hand dips lower, teasing my clit with a single gloved digit. My dirty girl." I nod again, desperate to feel him lower, to feel him inside. Instead of the pleasure I expect, I gasp, my eyes flying open at the pain radiating from that sensitive area. He laughs darkly, increasing the pressure in his fingers as he continues to pinch my clit. "But you're not my dirty girl, are you? You're his. You're everyone's. And I don't fucking like to share my toys." My heart crashes to a stop as something cold and hard presses against my neck. drawing a sharp slice of pain as the blade digs into my flesh. "X marks the spot," he murmurs. I gasp as he leans in once more, taking another deep breath accompanied by a moan. "If you're not mine, then you can't be anyone's," he whispers, a manic laugh accompanying another slice of his blade as he marks my neck with a perfect bloody X. "You have 3 days, my sweet Carlotta, and then I'm going to collect what belongs to me." There's a snap as the blade retracts, and I fall forward, clutching my neck as my heart threatens to beat its way out of my ribcage. Hot, sticky blood pools through my fingers as I straighten, my eyes wild and searching the shadows of the alley. But he's not there. He's gone. Chapter 2. After a fitful night's rest, I wake in the bed my fiancé and I share. Well, we should be sharing it, but last night, Landon stayed at his latest tryst's house, texting me he was too tired to drive home. I'm well aware our relationship is anything but conventional. It used to be one of the things that attracted me to Landon, how free he was, how open he was to all kinds of experiences, sexual and otherwise. So when he asked if we could transition into an open relationship a year ago, of course I said yes. I didn't want to stifle this man who was so full of love, so full of life, especially when he promised me nothing between us would change. We would still be Carlotta and Landon, happily about to be married couple, but we could eat our cake too, literally. I'm not going to lie, it was fun, for a while, but lately things have been different. Landon comes home later and later, if at all, and he doesn't seem particularly interested in having any fun time with his fiancée. Either too tired from who he was with, or not interested in general. It's been 2 months since Landon and I have slept together. I'm not going to think about how coincidental the timing is, about how around the same time we stopped, I met the masked man, Zay. Like a dark angel, he came into my life when I was wanting the most, when I needed someone to protect me from myself, from the dark thoughts always swirling in my head. Only, those thoughts have grown into a storm of their own. Not a day passes where I don't think about the man in the red mask, where I don't daydream about all the horrible things he could do to me. My stomach heats as I reach and cut my neck, gingerly fingering the large bandage that's covering the X he left on my skin last night. A mark. His mark. I jerk in bed, brought out of the thoughts by the front door clicking open. A scowl works its way onto my face as I throw my legs over the bed, preparing to face Landon after another night away from me, from us. "Hey," he greets, sweeping his shiny blonde hair off his forehead and giving me $1 million smile. "I brought you coffee." Looking at the paper cup in his hand, my expression lifts. I trot over to him, grabbing the cup with a smile that mirrors the brightness of his own. This is why I stay. Because even if things aren't perfect, even if they're not good, he still shows me he cares. Just this little gesture. Ugh! My face sours as the taste of hazelnut coats my tongue. I try to school my features, but it's too late. "You don't like it?" He frowns, looking at the tab on his own coffee to make sure he handed me the right one. "Did they leave out the hazelnut?" "Oh, no, they didn't leave it out," I say, trying to force a smile. My lips are quivering from the vile taste still swirling around my mouth, so I don't think I'm very successful at looking grateful. "What's wrong, then?" he asks. "It's nothing," I assure him, not wanting to seem ungrateful or to appear hurt that he forgot how much I hate hazelnut. After all, it's just a stupid coffee. So what if he forgot? I should focus on the fact that he was thoughtful enough to bring me one. "Thank you for this." "Of course, Lottie," he says, his smile back on his face as he steps over to me. He presses his lips to my cheek briefly before pulling back, his bright blue eyes gleaming as he gazes at me. "Did you see the outfit I laid out for you, Lottie?" A scowl tries to work its way onto my face, but I fight it. I had forgotten about our debauched plans at the Neon Flamingo tonight. Too shaken from my encounter with Zay last night to mentally prepare for it. No, sorry. I'm sure it's just as good as the others, though. A tight smile. Another peck. I try not to think about the fact he hasn't commented on my bandage, and I fail. Did he just not notice? How could he not notice? Landon beams as he heads toward the fridge, pulling out ingredients to make his morning smoothie. You're going to look sexy as hell. Caleb is super excited. He's been texting me all morning about it. Caleb? I ask. Usually, he doesn't let me know the names of the men I'll be fucking. Says the mystery is half the reason it's so hot. You never mention their names beforehand. Yeah, but Caleb's different, he says, waving me off as he adds a scoop of vanilla protein powder to the blender. I'm thinking he might be a more permanent man in your rotation. I raise my brows. Really? And when did I agree to this? My question is cut off halfway by the whirring of the blender, and I scowl, waiting as patiently as I can for it to finish. I'm sorry, what did you say, Lottie? He asks, blue eyes wide and innocent as he pours a cup of the noxious green mixture. Nothing, I murmur, turning and heading to the bathroom to get ready for the night. There's a cold numbness in my chest, but I choose not to think about it. After all, this is what I agreed to. This is what I welcomed with open arms. So why am I so unhappy about it? It was nothing at all. Pain radiates from the balls of my feet as I teeter into the Neon Flamingo, holding onto Landon for support as I try to gain my bearings in my 6-inch death heels. One stumble, one wrong move, and my skirt the length of dental floss will ride up, exposing everything to the room. We maneuver through the throng of sweaty, moving bodies toward the back of the room, and I nearly groan when I see there are no seats available around the table Landon rented. However, that problem is solved when Landon sets me in front of a man with chestnut-colored hair, who promptly drags me into his lap. The wind leaves my lungs with the force he pulls me down, causing the rest of the hungry-eyed men around the table to laugh amicably. I turn my head to look at my captor, my eyes drawn toward a nose too large for his face, before settling on eyes the color of dying grass. So this must be Caleb. He's not a terribly attractive man, but he's not ugly either, and he seems to be sporting quite a nice body beneath his thin gray t-shirt. And the thing growing between his legs is an indication we're going to have a lovely time. You're Carlotta? He asks, hazel eyes twinkling with mirth. Landon's told me all about you. Only the most debauched things, I hope? I ask, fluttering my lashes sweetly. He tosses his head back in a throaty laugh, and my core flutters at the sound. He's got a fantastic voice, I'll give him that. So Carlotta, he muses, reaching forward and tucking a strand of ruby red hair behind my ear. Want to head to the back with me? Unwittingly, my eyes trail toward the crowd, my heart hammering as I catch a glance of Landon, his lips pressed hungrily against a beautiful model-esque girl with platinum hair. Just his type. I guess he'll be busy doing his own thing tonight, as usual. A bitterness settles in the pit of my stomach as I force my eyes away, regretting my decision as my gaze catches on a red mask bobbing in the crowd. I blink and it's gone. The familiar red mask replaced by a girl with unicorn glitter on her eyes. I shake my head, trying and failing to ignore the uneasiness swirling in the back of my mind. Let's go, I murmur, grabbing Caleb's hand and hauling him toward the blood-red door at the back of the club. The security guard gives me a slight nod before letting us inside, and I waste no time leading him into a room at the far back of the hallway. The only furniture occupying the space is a bed and a small nightstand, but that's all we will need for what we're doing. You're sexy as fuck, you know that? He husks, his lids lowering as I push him backward onto the crimson bedspread. So fucking hot. So are you? My lips tip in a sardonic smile as I climb onto the bed, straddling his thighs as I deftly remove his belt. His pants and boxers are next, and when I finally grip his thick cock in my palm, it's accompanied with a throaty groan that has tingles running the length of my spine. This power I have over them is what I live for. Good boy, I murmur, stroking his length agonizingly slow. Caleb hisses when my hand meets the base of his pelvis, hazel eyes filled with a desperate plea. Oh, God, he groans, throwing his head back. Oh, God, I've got to take a leak like a motherfucker. I sit back with a scowl, taking my hand with me. Go pee then. Bathroom's down the hall. Sweet, he moans, not bothering to put his pants back on as he runs to the door, cupping his junk with one hand. Be right back, sexy. The door closes, and I lay back on the bed with a sigh, staring mindlessly at the ceiling. Okay, this sucks. Being alone with my mind is the worst. Several minutes go by before I start to get ticked off. Another 5, and I begin to worry. Did he get lost? Did he fall in? I shake my head at the last thought, standing from the bed and shuffling out the room, down the hall to the bathroom to check on him. I knock a few times on the men's door, and when no answer comes, I shove inside, frowning when I note all but one of the stalls is open. Caleb? No answer. Caleb? Still nothing. I'm about to leave when I notice something red smeared on the door of the closed stall. With my heart in my throat, I step into the bathroom. As I get closer to that stall, it becomes increasingly clear that the substance is blood, and it's fresh. Throwing all sense of preservation out the window, I push hard on the door of the stall, causing it to crash into the inside wall, and what I see inside makes all the blood run from my face. It's Caleb, slumped and lifeless on the toilet. And that's not all, not the worst of it by far. There's a giant bloody X carved into his chest, his tongue hanging out unnaturally and surrounded by lips horribly swollen and purple. On his lap rests a crimson note card. Normally, that small thing wouldn't be so frightening, but the 2 words scrawled there are enough to shoot terror to the core of my being. It's a simple phrase, and yet it's able to showcase all the malicious intent they hold. The promise. 3 days. Chapter 3. I stare numbly at my soggy bowl of shredded wheat as Landon recounts everything that happened to him last night after the body was found. He's so animated in his retelling, but I can't find it in me to pay attention to the words coming from his mouth. All I can think about is the way Caleb's eyes stared at me, as dull in death as they were in life. And then the cop asks me if I had anything to do with it. Can you fucking believe that shit? As if I could do anything other than bury myself in this sweet piece of ass I was with. That type of commentary would normally make me flinch, but lately it just makes me tired. Especially this morning, when all I want to do is lie in bed and try to forget the horrible sight at the club last night. Do they know who did it? I ask, unaware I'm interrupting another tirade he's fallen into. I don't fucking know, Lottie. Do you really not care how those pigs treated me? He crosses his arms with a scowl, and I turn my attention back to my Wheaties. Well, it sure as shit doesn't seem like you care. He still hasn't asked about the cut on my neck, and he certainly doesn't care I'm the one who found Caleb's body, is all I can think as I raise my eyes, meeting his irritated gaze head on. He doesn't say anything else, and I stand from my seat with a heavy sigh, grabbing the bowl and heading to the sink to dump it out. The faucet is unreasonably loud as I rinse out the remnants of my forgotten breakfast, and I'm scared to turn around to face the man I've called my fiancé for the past year. I'm going running, I murmur, not looking at him as I duck out of the kitchen. He doesn't say anything, doesn't try to stop me, and I have to assume that whether it be from anger or otherwise, he's fine with me leaving. I yank on my tennis shoes and grab my headphones before rushing out the door. I'm halfway down the steps when I notice something red peeking out of the bushes, and when I stoop to pick it up, my heart lodges in my throat. It's another card, though this one has a slightly different message, and twice as terrifying. 2 days. I throw my shoulders back, crumpling the note card in my fist and dispensing it into the trash bin at the end of the driveway. I shove my headphones in forcefully, selecting a particularly violent song from my playlist as I take off down the sidewalk, determined not to let the warning shake me. The chill morning air burns my lungs, but I pay it little attention as I take a left onto the Moreton hiking trail, too focused on keeping Zay from my mind and my feet moving forward. I slow my pace slightly the deeper I get into the forest, breathing in the crisp scent of cypress and going so far as to pull an earbud out so I can listen to the birds sing. It really is beautiful out here this early in the day. No one is around for miles, no one but the birds and the animals and me to welcome in the new day. I'm so busy marveling at the scenery, I don't notice the tripwire someone has planted on the hiking trail. I'm flying through the air before I know what's happening, unable to do anything but squeeze my eyes tight and brace for a painful landing. Only that never happens. I crack my lids open, all too aware of a pair of gloved hands wrapped around my midsection, stopping my fall. What? I don't get to finish my question as I'm hauled upright, a hand planted firmly over my mouth to silence me. Shh, he whispers, pulling my backside flush against his abdomen. Don't make a sound, little Rose. If you do, we'll have to stop playing. Do you understand? The way my body reacts to his touch is more than enough to let me know who it is, and I close my eyes tight to fight against the desire heating my blood. Why is it only like this with him? What have I done that's so wrong I can only get off to thoughts of this monster? Rose, I asked you a question, he murmurs, moving his hand from my belly to cup my breast and teasing my nipple through the thin material of my sports bra. My whimper is muffled by his hand, and I uselessly grind my ass against him in an attempt to alleviate some of the fire burning between my thighs. Keeping 3 fingers over my mouth, he pinches my nose closed with the other 2, and my body convulses for entirely different reasons as I'm slowly starved for oxygen. I'm not a patient man, little Rose. Answer the question. His voice is a dangerous growl, one I am all too willing to get lost in. I nod, desperate for air and to continue this dangerous game we've been playing. Satisfied with the answer, he releases my nose. I suck in lungfuls of precious oxygen as he chuckles darkly, dipping his other hand beneath my sports bra. He rolls my nipple between 2 fingers before applying a fierce pressure that causes me to gasp against his hand, my head tipping back as I'm lost to the delectable mix of pain and pleasure. Did you like your gift, little Rose? He murmurs, releasing my nipple and massaging the pain away. Did you like the pretty ex I left him with? I'm so lost in him, it takes me a few seconds to realize what he's talking about. When I do, it's like someone dumped a bucket of cold water all over me, and I attempt to pull out of his hold. I shake my head, tears coming to my eyes as the terror of what I experienced that day coming back tenfold. His chest shakes with a dark laugh, and he leans forward, licking the first salty drop that falls to my cheek. And then I'm struck with a whole new kind of terror. He's not wearing his mask. It was your fault, Carlotta, he whispers, a malicious tone coating every word he whispers into my ear. Because you are mine, and you allowed him to touch you. He snaps his hand up, cupping my throat and squeezing hard enough to bring stars to my eyes. Since the moment I laid eyes on you, you've belonged to me, and anyone who touches what is mine will die by my hand. It's wrong, but also the hottest thing I've ever heard. But also, oh God, he could hurt Landon. Of course, it's been months since he's truly touched me in that way. but still. He releases my mouth for a moment, just long enough for me to breathe out one simple phrase. "You're insane," I whisper, fighting weakly against his hold on my throat. "Fucking insane." "For you, my treasure, always," he says, leaning down and nuzzling his face into my neck. He takes a deep inhale, and a moan shudders deep in his chest. "You smell divine. Good enough to eat." There's a scraping noise, and then teeth are sinking into my flesh, right in the center of the X and causing the wound to reopen again. I cry out in pain before his hand is slapped across my mouth once more. "We had a deal. You broke it," he snarls, ripping my arms behind my back. He wraps something that feels like twine around them before doing the same to my ankles. Then he bends me over, pressing the outline of his rock-hard cock against my ass as he fastens my wrists to my ankles. I whimper when he finally takes his hands from me, and his dark laugh fills the still forest air. "I'll be back for you, my rose. 2 days. And then he's gone, leaving me with a belly full of want and no way in hell how to get out of this cursed position. Sometimes, being chased by a masked man fucking sucks. Chapter 4. It takes me the better half of the day to get out of the contraption Zay left me in, and by the time I get back to the townhouse, Landon is gone. With a deep sigh, I head into the kitchen and grab a banana before heading into the living room and turning on the television. A rotting day sounds great after the hell of the past 2 days. A yawn tears from my mouth as I lie on the sofa, grabbing one of my fuzzy blankets and pulling it to my chin. It's a gloomy day in Moreton as usual, and if I don't sit up, I'm afraid I'll fall asleep before two. My eyes close, and when they reopen, the sun has set. I jerk up in alarm, rubbing the sleep from my eyes as I look at the clock blinking on the oven. 11:15. Did I really fall asleep for that long? I stand from the couch and pad over to the bedroom, peeking inside and frowning when I notice Landon still isn't home. With a huff, I head back to the living room and grab my phone from the coffee table, my scowl intensifying when I notice a single message from Landon. "I went to the woods." I go to type out a message and pause, my mind reeling. What the hell does he mean he went to the woods? Landon hates the outdoors more than an asthmatic, which can only mean... Oh God, Zay has Landon. I'm not sure how, but I don't have time to figure it out. I don't even put on shoes before I'm sprinting out the door, my legs taking me in the direction of the Moreton Forest hiking trail. What if he's dead already? What if I'm too late? Why the fuck do I care so much? The last thought almost causes me to pause, but I push forward, shoving it from my mind. Sure, Landon and I haven't been very close lately, but I've still spent a considerable amount of my life with him. He knows me. At least I think he does. The hazelnut situation did put some doubts in my mind, and he never did notice the cuts on my neck. But despite anything I may feel, I can't in good conscience leave a person out in the woods with a masked madman. I'm not that terrible of a person. I race down the familiar path of the hiking trail, numb to the sharp rocks and sticks that cut my feet as I race into the mouth of the forest. The minutes feel like hours, but I finally come across a human-shaped form off the side of the path, seemingly bound by a piece of thick brown rope. My heart stalls as I rush over, taking in the horrible welts along his exposed limbs, at the raw flesh on his wrists and ankles from the rope. For a few terrible moments, I'm sure he's dead. But then he raises his head, and I nearly fall over in relief. "Landon!" I cry, crouching and starting to undo the heavy knots holding his joints together. "Oh God, I'm so sorry this happened. I never thought..." I stop, a sob working its way up my throat. I did know something like this could happen, and yet I still let it. I'm horrible, truly horrible. Just get me the fuck out of here, Landon snaps, struggling uselessly against the restraints. That fucking psycho could come back any moment. Landon, can you talk and work? Because if not, kindly shut up. His words sting, but I brush it off, attributing it to him being shaken by the situation. Don't worry, I say, tugging at the second of many knots. I'll get you out of here. As I work, Landon recounts the story of what happened to him. He had gone for coffee and breakfast with the girl he met at the Neon Flamingo when I had stormed off to go jogging. He had gone to the bathroom at the coffee shop, and when he was washing his hands, felt a stabbing pain in his neck. I can't remember anything after that, he grumbles, wincing heavily as my fingernail accidentally nicks his skin. Be careful. Anyways, the next thing I know, I'm hog-tied in a damn forest. My allergies flaring and my fucking phone missing. He turns his eyes to me, a scowl on his handsome face. Why the fuck did it take you so long to look for me? My face pales. I took a nap. His eyes narrow. And how would you know to look in the forest for me? I focus on untying the last of the knots, my tongue heavy in my mouth. What do I tell him? That I've been playing a dangerous game with a dangerous man, and now he's the victim of my actions? I just had a gut feeling. The last of the ropes fall loose, and Landon sits up with a relieved sigh. Clearly forgetting our conversation, he gazes around at the shadowy forest, rubbing his wrists with trepidation written all across his face. We should go. Who knows when he'll be back? I hold out my hand to help him up, and Landon shrugs it off, wobbling to a standing position. He grabs a tree trunk for support, and I roll my eyes, taking off down the hiking trail toward civilization. I hold my head high, determined to show Landon his attitude has no effect on me. I'm so focused on this task that I don't notice the large rock protruding from the trail. And that's when I roll my ankle. I curse my stupidity as I fall to my ass, clutching my lower leg as hard as I do my lip between my teeth to stop the cry of pain that wants to tear free. Fuck, this is not good. A few moments later, Landon appears on the path, looking far less woozy than he was before. He rolls his eyes when he notices me on the ground, a cruel action accompanied by a deep sigh of irritation. Really, Lottie? What have you done now? I frown, fighting the tears in my eyes as I attempt to put weight on my right side. And that's a no. I want to scream, though I know that will do nothing to help my predicament. So instead, I turn my eyes to Landon, my gaze a plea for help. Of course, it's at that moment the bushes start rustling. Landon's eyes widen for a moment before turning in the direction of the noise, his shoulders visibly shaking. What the fuck was that? He asks, though he doesn't look at me. Do you think that was him? I don't know. Please come and help me, Landon. I just need help up. I think I can walk on my own. He shakes his head, still not looking at me. I should go get someone to help you. It'll be faster if I go. The unmistakable crunch of footsteps rings out in the brush, causing a fist to clench around my heart. Landon, don't you dare leave me here. He finally turns to me, his eyes wild with fright. It'll be faster if I go get someone, Lottie. I need to go. He takes a step backward, another and another, and then he turns and runs. Landon! I scream. Landon! Don't leave me here! Just before his form disappears into the shadows, someone steps out of the trees, bringing a fist straight into Landon's face. The force of the hit combined with the speed he was running sends Landon flying backward in the air a few feet before he slams to the ground unconscious. A gloved hand reaches down, fisting Landon's golden hair and using it to drag Landon's body back to me. He tosses his body next to me on the trail, and I fight a scream at the sight of the blood gushing from his temple. Your fiancé is a fucking pussy. I raise my gaze, my stomach clenching, as my eyes find that horrifying red mask. Only, it's not terror that has my blood heating. It's desire. Zay reaches forward, capturing my chin in his hand and leaning in close. He holds his wrist up, seemingly checking the time on his watch before a dark laugh fills the space. It's 12:01, little Rose. Before I have a chance to respond, there's a sharp prick in the side of my neck, and everything goes dark. Chapter 5. When I wake up an indiscernible amount of time later, I'm blindfolded, my wrists and ankles spread in a starfish and bound to something hard. There's a damp smell clinging to the air, and by the faint hint of cypress, I have to assume we're somewhere in the Moreton forest, probably underground. The last thought sends a shiver of fear down my spine, and my breathing picks up speed as I imagine the walls closing in, tons of dirt pouring into the space and burying me alive. I'm hyperventilating now, and it only gets worse when a low grumble sounds out from the opposite end of the space, a groan that is unmistakably Landon's. The restraints dig into my skin as I fight against them, a new wave of desperation cresting in my veins, knowing he's trapped in here with me. This is my fault, all my fault. I'm so sorry, Landon, I whisper, falling limp as the footsteps grow nearer. I'm going to get us out of here, I promise. A door creaks open behind me, and though I have a blindfold on, I can't help but to jerk my head in the direction of the noise. His footfalls are like gunshots against the concrete floor, each one sending a fresh wave of terror straight to my core as they draw nearer to me. You look so beautiful strung up like that, my Rose. Zay's gloved hand splays across my neck, squeezing ever so slightly before pulling back. Suddenly, my blindfold is ripped from my head. I only have a second to rejoice before wishing the cloth was back in place as I get a good look at Landon chained in the corner of the room. The only light in the room is a single flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling, the scant illumination just bright enough for me to make out the silver cock cage wrapped around Landon's pelvis. His hands are unbound, but they will do no good to unhook the thick metal collar bolted to the wall with a chain. He reaches for the ball gag in his mouth with a helpless expression, but that too is lodged too deep in his mouth to remove without assistance. Zay's hand slides to my chest, cupping my breast gently and toying with my nipple. A sick little chuckle breaking the air as Landon's fights against his restraints. You should have appreciated her when you had the chance. Now look at you, Zay mocks, pinching my nipple hard and drawing a pained moan from my mouth. Though I should hate it, I can't stop the warmth that builds in my core, nor the arousal that slides down my thighs with a gentle plop to the floor below. That's my dirty girl, Zay whispers, trailing his other hand to my sex and sliding his fingers through my folds, coating them in the slick arousal. So wet and ready for what's about to come. There's a sharp hissing noise as he undoes his zipper, and then something round and hard is pressing at my entrance from the back. My eyes fly open as something else, something foreign, pokes at my front walls. It's thin and slick, slightly cool like metal, and when he drags it across my swollen clit, my head tilts back with a moan. Oh God, what is that? I breathe, my eyes closing of their own accord as he continues teasing me with the hard little ring. Zay chuckles low in his throat, refusing to answer me as hips jerks, positioning the head at my entrance once more. I gasp as he pushes the head inside, that cool little ring pressing just so against my walls and driving me mad with desire. Zay, oh Zay, I moan, forgetting everything else as my body is lost to the pleasure only he can give me. Please, I whisper, my body shuddering violently as he rolls his hips, prolonging my torture. Landon lets out a low whine from the corner, and my lids snap open. I lock eyes with my fiancé as Zay pushes fully inside me, the sensation of being filled so fully drawing an inhumane cry from my open mouth. Zay fucks me like a man possessed, his cock piercing, rubbing heavenly against my walls and drawing me closer to oblivion. My head falls back as pleasure crests in my veins, but Zay snaps his hand up, forcing my chin down, so I'm looking at Landon again. I want him to see those pretty eyes when I make you come, Zay growls, reaching with his other hand and pinching my clit. The mix of pain and pleasure, the depravity of the situation, the way Zay's gloved fingers feel against my sex, it pushes me over the edge. My mouth falls open as I explode, my orgasm tearing through me with such violence it causes my body to shudder. I sag against my restraints as Zay prolongs my pleasure, rolling his hips while his fingers continue to stroke me languidly. That's my dirty girl, he whispers, his abdomen impossibly tight against my back as he pulls me flush against him. You look so pretty when you come. Did you know that, Rose? I shake my head weakly, my mind still foggy from the hurricane that just tore through my system. I don't... You don't what, my Rose? He interrupts, sliding his hand to my throat and cupping it lovingly. You don't know how beautiful you look when you're coming on my cock. Well, why don't we ask your fiancé? He growls, grabbing my chin and forcing me to look at Landon again. How did she look, pussycat? What was your favorite part? Personally, it's when her eyes roll back when I pinch her swollen little clit. He mumbles, pulling uselessly against his restraints. He seems pissed, although, when I gaze at his lower half, I can't help but notice his cock is straining painfully against the cage. Odd. Zay laughs cruelly, bucking his hips slightly before picking up his pace again. Even though I just came, the blissful feeling of his cock has a new wave of pleasure building in my veins within minutes. The fog collects in my mind the longer he toys with me, and I'm just lucid enough to see Zay toss something small and silver to Landon. A key. He tries the metal collar first, and when that doesn't work, he looks to his cock in despair. Fitting the key into the lock, he releases his dick with a pained groan. An apology swirls in his light eyes as he meets my gaze, and a moment later, he palms his cock and begins stroking it slowly. Zay laughs darkly as he continues fucking me, and I'm helpless to do anything but watch as Landon's cock swells, his eyes hungry as he watches my face twisted in pleasure at Zay's doing. And then he comes. My eyes widen in shock as Landon shoots his hot jizz all over the floor, his head tipped back in a deep, throaty groan. He keeps rubbing, a frown building between his brows when his erection refuses to go down. What the fuck? Landon curses, fisting his cock and rubbing it violently, uncontrollably. Why? It's the lovely concoction I gave you earlier. Zay smirks as he presses his thumb against my asshole, causing a squeak to leave my mouth. You'll want to rub and rub and rub, but nothing will scratch that itch you have. Nothing except the antidote. Where is it? Landon asks, his face twisted as he fights another orgasm. Where? You'll get it soon enough, he says, his cock stilling inside me. But first, I want to make a deal. What deal? Landon demands. You are engaged to Carlotta, no? That needs to end, now. I open my mouth to object, but Landon is already speaking. Done. What the fuck? I spit, shooting daggers at my so-called fiancé. Are you serious? After all we've been through? He looks pained, though I have a feeling it's more to do with the raging erection he's currently nursing. I'm sorry, Lottie. You know what? Just stop. My face twists in disgust. I can't believe I wasted so much of my time on a man this spineless, and don't call me that. Clearly, we're not close enough for that. Lottie, he whines, his mouth twisted in an ugly frown as he turns to face Zay. It's his fault, Lottie. He's the one who's doing this. He's the one who kidnapped us, who's breaking us. You didn't need any help breaking us, I snap. We've been done for years. This is just the nail in the coffin. Lottie, While I'm super enjoying watching him squirm like a worm, I really need to finish the negotiation. Landon looks at him in alarm. I already said I'd call off the engagement. What more do you want? He just tips his head, his chest shaking with a laugh. Isn't it obvious? His hand grips my throat possessively, and I have no questions about what he means. My face goes red. What? That's preposterous. Done. My mouth pops as Zay throws a key and a syringe to Landon, all while still thrusting violently inside me. Landon grabs the shot greedily, pushing it into his thigh before he uses the key to unlock the metal collar. In moments, Landon's erection subsides, and he breathes a deep sigh of relief. Giving me an apologetic look, he shuffles toward the exit, his head hung low while I struggle against my restraints. Landon, don't leave me here, I cry, my eyes wide and body confused from the conflicting feelings running through me. I'm sorry, Lottie, he says, though his face lacks any true conviction. I'll come back for you, I promise. The door slams closed, sealing my fate. Zay laughs maliciously, pulling his cock from me and stepping around in a slow arc, finally coming to a stop right in front of me. My heart clenches as I take in that familiar red mask, the one that haunts my every nightmare and waking fantasy. Slowly, oh so slowly, he reaches up and pulls the mask from his face, finally letting me see the monster that resides beneath. Only, when I look upon him, I see no monster at all. My pulse thrums violently as he leans in, taking a deep breath of the fear and desire rolling off me in waves. His lips spread into a maddening smirk, one that has desire pooling in my belly and a wildfire sparking to life in my heart. But it's what he says next that undoes me, makes me forget anyone that came before him. Finally alone. You have no idea how long I've waited for you, my little Rose. Chapter 6. As I gaze upon Zay's face, I'm truly taken aback by his features. So unusual they would look strange individually, but together, he's stunning. Waves of long black hair fall over his forehead, partially obscuring eyes the color of clear jade. He sports a strong nose that adds to the sharp angle of his stubbled jaw, and his lips are perfectly full and kissable. This isn't right. He shouldn't look so godlike. Are you ready, little Rose? He whispers, green eyes alight with hunger. I swallow hard, tugging weakly against my wrist restraints as he reaches for me. I half expect him to have his way with me again, something I truly wouldn't mind now that the shock of Landon's betrayal has worn off. There's something in the way he looks at me that tells me he wants to do right by me, to protect me. Instead of taking me, he unhooks the pins holding my arms above my head. My body slumps forward, but Zay is there to catch me, holding my weight tenderly as he does the same to my ankles. When I'm free, he scoops me into his strong arms, holding me tight against his chest as he steps toward the door. We ascend a flight of steps, at the top of which are two twin doors. The one directly ahead is cracked slightly, letting in rays of moonlight and the gentle zest of cypress on the wind. So we are in the forest. I don't get to ask any questions before Zay fishes out a key and inserts it into the door on our left. Artificial light streams in, and I squint my eyes tight as Zay steps into a large, well-lit room. There's a small kitchen off to the side, a living space with a couch and TV, as well as a crimson door at the far back of the space that I assume leads to the bedroom. My throat bobs as Zay makes a beeline to that door. I clutch his shirt tightly as he opens the door, allowing me to get a good look at the California king taking up most of the small bedroom. Instead of laying me on the bed like I assume, Zay takes a left and carries me into the bathroom I hadn't noticed before. He sets me gently on the side of the tub as he turns to the faucet, holding his hand under the water until he gets the temperature just so. "Zay, what are you doing?" I whisper, wrapping my arms tightly around my chest. He jerks his head to me, a deep 11 between his brows. "Drawing you a bath. Is this not okay?" "No, it is. My voice falls off, too embarrassed to tell him no one has ever done something so small for me. Seeing my expression, Zay reaches out, holding my chin gently in his palm as he seems to read my mind. "Allow me to correct this wrong for you, my precious Rose. Let me pamper you for a while." I nod, unexpected emotion welling in my eyes as Zay helps me climb into the tub. The warm water laps heavenly against my tired muscles, and I sink back with a sigh, allowing my eyes to drift close as Zay wets a washcloth and begins cleaning me. After a few minutes, I realize he's still wearing his gloves. I grab his hand, and Zay jerks back, alarm written all across his face. What are you doing?" My face heats. I wanted to take your gloves off. I've never felt you before." A slow smile works across his face. He allows me to remove the coverings, looking at my profile with such deep adoration it causes my toes to curl. "I'm obsessed with you, you know that," he murmurs. "So fucking obsessed." I lower my eyes as I feed my hand into his, marveling at the way his fits so perfectly in mine. If I'm honest, I might be a little obsessed with him too. It's fucking insane, but I am. "Carlotta." I look up in alarm, frowning at the sadness held in his beautiful eyes. "What is it?" "I'm not a good man, my Rose," he says, tightening his hand around mine. "I'm a bad man, a terrible man. And I don't deserve someone as glorious as you." I shake my head at the preposterousness of the situation. He's stalked me, kidnapped me, spun me around his little finger, and now he's worried he's not good enough? Fucking men, I laugh, throwing my head back as Zay looks on in confusion. Did I say something funny? I nod, unable to stop the shit-eating grin from working its way across my face. You're just a funny guy. Now that you have me, you're thinking of giving me away. He growls menacingly, snapping his hand to the back of my neck and pulling me close. I will never give you up, Carlotta. Of that you have my word. I may be a bad man, Carlotta, a dangerous man, but I promise that I will be good for you. Will always and only be good for you. He releases me, a devious smirk on his face as he takes the washcloth back to my skin. I'm merely warning you. There are many things you do not know about me. Things that may cause you to want to run away. And those things are? I murmur, my lids closing in bliss as Zay works shampoo into my scalp. The organization I work for, the Sanctum. They will not be happy if they find out about you. And will they? I ask, my heart clenching for one terrible, fear-filled moment. Will they hurt you if they find out? Zay shakes his head, a small smile tugging at his lips. I'll protect you, my Rose. I will protect you with my dying breath. The world will burn before I let anything take you from me. My heart swells as he leans in, the electricity crackling between us, something from out of this world. I let him kiss me for the first time, and the rest of the world falls away as Zay expertly works his mouth with mine. He pulls me from the tub, water falling from my body and pooling to the floor with every step Zay takes toward the bedroom. He lays me on the bedspread and makes love to me, whispering loving, filthy words into my ear until we both find our oblivion. His cock throbs gently inside me as he holds my face, peppering kisses across my cheeks and whispering over and over again how beautiful I am. Hours later, when sleep finally claims Zay, his cock is still firmly nestled inside me, my body clutched possessively to his chest. Just before I follow him into the dark, it occurs to me how right this feels. I've never truly felt safe falling asleep with a man, not even Landon. And it's a special kind of comfort I don't want to lose. Of course, if Zay has his way, I never have to worry about losing him. Chapter 7. It's been several weeks since the incident with Landon, though I feel entirely different about it now. It sounds utterly fucked, but I never realized how unhappy I had been before Zay took me. Had never known how many pieces had been chipped away by staying with a man who didn't respect me. Now that I know what it's like to truly be cared for, to be loved, I can't believe I stayed with Landon for so long. It's been 3 whole weeks, and Landon never made good on his promise to come back for me, a fact I am all too fine with accepting. In truth, I don't want to leave. Being with Zay is like nothing I've ever experienced. He's so good to me, so caring, so wonderful in every way. I never expected it, but I can't say I regret anything that happened for us to get here. With a big stretch, I roll over in bed and come face to face with Zay's big green eyes, glinting lovingly in the morning light, seeping through the curtains. "Have you been watching me while I sleep?" I giggle, nuzzling my head into the crook of his arm as he pulls me closer. Always," he murmurs, running his calloused hands tenderly through my hair. "You look so beautiful when you sleep. Face at peace, nose twitching, lips slightly parted. It makes me want to stick my cock in you." My face flushes. "You always want to do that." True," he grumbles, rolling on top of me and pinning me between 2 strong arms. He dips low, nipping the tip of my nose before crashing his mouth to mine. I let out a moan as Zay reaches up and flicks my nipple, my back arching into him on its own accord as pleasure thrums between my thighs. "Do you want my cock inside you, little Rose?" I nod, a breathy whimper falling from my lips as he slides his hand low over my sex, taunting, promising. "Well, too bad. I need to feed you first." He smirks, pushing off me and standing from the bed. My lips work into a pout, a half second before Zay pulls me into his arms, pressing a gentle kiss to my forehead as he walks us into the kitchen. Positioning me so he can hold me with one arm, he pulls ingredients from the fridge. I watch his profile as he works, unable to keep the cheesy smile from my face as he refuses to put me down. "Sorry, I can't seem to keep my hands from you for even a moment," he murmurs, cracking an egg into the pan with one hand and squeezing my ass with the other. When breakfast is ready, he places me gently onto a stool before scooping a heaping portion of cheesy eggs in front of me. Like always, anxiety bubbles in my chest as I look at the portion in front of me. I've gotten so used to restricting my food over the years, so determined to keep my figure the way my ex liked it, even though I was starving. I know there's no reason for it anymore, but it's hard to shake the habit. Zay places a fork into my hand, placing his hand on my back and rubbing soothing circles there. "Food fuels the machine, Rose. It's not your body I'm infatuated with, though you make me salivate just from looking at you. It's your mind. Your soul is what I want to possess for as long as possible. So you will eat what you want, and you will eat well, because I plan to have you for a long, long fucking time." He places a kiss on top of my head before taking a seat next to me, digging into his own heaping plate. My mouth sings as I take the first bite, and before I know it, I've eaten half the plate. "Good girl," Zay coos, getting up to wash the dishes when he realizes I've eaten my fill. "I'll clean up. You go get ready for your run." A smile spreads across my face, and I quickly run over to give Zay a hug before skipping off to the bedroom to pull on my running gear. My morning run through the woods is still one of my favorite pleasures in life, and Zay is more than happy to encourage it, especially considering the recent perks that come with the daily exercise. By the time I'm changed, Zay has already cleared the kitchen, though the man in question is nowhere to be found. A devious smile works across my mouth as I plug my headphones in and make for the exit, my pulse thrumming with anticipation. I squint against the morning light as I take off down the worn path, the sharp zest of cypress filling me with energy as legs take me deep into the heart of the forest. I've been running for several minutes when I finally hear it, a crack, like someone stepped on a fallen branch. My heart picks up pace with my legs, and I take a sharp right into the brush as a laugh bubbles from my lips. Stray branches whip at my face and arms, but I barely feel the pain as I race through the thick underbrush. All I can think about is what will happen when he inevitably catches me. My feet skid to a halt as a shadowy form materializes on the path, a familiar blood-red mask concealing the menacing features beneath. A squeal tears from my mouth as I twist my body, attempting to redirect my course when two strong arms wrap around my middle, holding me in place. "I caught you, little Rose," he breathes, his voice choking as he bucks his hips against my ass, the strain of his cock telling me just what the thrill of the chase does to him. "You're mine now, all mine." There's a violent ripping as my spandex shorts are torn from my body. The chill morning air bites at my exposed flesh, covering my skin with goosebumps that are only multiplied as Zay slides his hand between my sex. He swirls his thumb gently around my clit, the pleasure his touch elicits, shooting fire through my veins and warming me from the inside out. "Zay, I need you inside me," I beg, rubbing my ass against his hard cock as my mind is lost to desire. "Please, Zay, please." He chuckles low in his throat as he reaches between us, releasing his monster of a cock and causing the head to slap against my asshole. He fists his cock, positioning it lower, and I gasp as that ring presses against my entrance, eyes watering as the head of his cock pushes and swirls around my opening. "You love getting fucked in the woods like a dirty little animal, don't you?" he groans, pushing the first half inside. "You love being a dirty girl, but only for me. Only ever for me." He thrusts forward, slamming his hips flush against my ass, and my back arches as a moan tears from my parted lips. "Oh, fuck," I scream, fighting to keep upright as Zay pounds into me forcefully. He hooks an arm around my middle, the other sliding to my swollen clit, pinching and toying with the bundle of nerves as his cock drives into me from behind. With each thrust of his hips, each swirl of his talented fingers, I'm brought closer and closer to the edge. Zay adjusts the angle of his hips, pushing into me so his ring presses just so against my walls, and I'm gone. My vision fractures, my muscles turn to jello as my orgasm racks through me, and I have to hold on to Zay just to keep 2 feet on the ground. I'm weightless, flying, and I don't ever want to come down. Violent spasms work through my body as Zay finishes a moment later, a deep moan filling the air as his cock throbs gently inside me. Breathing hard, he slips his cock from me, turning me to face him and pulling me hard against his chest. He clutches me like I'm something precious, something to be protected. And when I gaze into his eyes, I know that to be true. "You are perfect, little Rose," he whispers, leaning down and capturing my mouth in his. "So beautiful, so ineffable. How could I not love you?" I jerk, my eyes wide as I try to process the words he just spoke. You love me?" He nods, his eyes deadly serious. "I do, my Rose. I have since the moment I placed eyes on you. I knew it then, I know it now, and I will know it every day that comes until my death. You are mine, just as I am yours." As I gaze into the most beautiful jade eyes, my heart swelling with an emotion I can't place, I realize that that I love him too. I'm opening my mouth to say this when Zay reaches up, placing a finger to my lips. I know, Rose, I know. And I will never stop being thankful for your love. My eyes well with tears as he scoops me into his arms, placing his lips lovingly against my forehead as he walks us back to the lair. And as we're walking, nothing but the birds and the bugs and the trees to witness our love, I realize what that emotion was. Happiness. I think I may finally be happy. And as I look at Zay, at my captor, protector, and lover, something tells me I will be for a long time to come. This has been The Vixen's Vice by Mindy Paige. Read for you by Mackenzie Cartwright.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, lady listeners. Thank you so much to Mindy Paige for bringing us Vixen's Vice. We're so excited to have you with us, and we really appreciate you being on the podcast. Let's see what we've got. Up next week is the break week. It's for Thanksgiving. I cannot believe it.
I can't either. When I keep looking at the date, I'm like, is it really November 7th? Jesus.
I know, that's today, yeah. So this is going to air on November 12th, though. So we're already late. So we take off for 2 weeks for Thanksgiving, the week before and the week of, just so we can get everything ready for the end of the year. After Thanksgiving, we have 3 more audiobooks before the end of the year, and then we will take a break until February of 2025. So make sure you come back and join us. Up next, like I said, we have 2 weeks off, and then when we come back, we have Ayla Asher with his Holiday Pact. Then we have Lydia Michaels with Calamity Rain Over the Moon, and then Alexa Riley, Snow Much Plowing. That's what we have coming up. That title, Jesus.
I love that title.
I love that title. It's ridiculous. It's my favorite.
All right, so check out our new books, and all that will be in the show notes.
That's it.
Tell them what to do.
Fuck your day up. Make today your bitch. Don't be a dick.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. You could take a look in a book, that's fine. Or you could sit back, relax, and unwind and read me romance.